Hey, welcome back minions to Revit 2016. Okay, in the last project I believe we created these wonderful things here, these stairs, and in 3D that is how they look so far. So what we want to do now is go to the upper floor, and we need to, well, you want to punch up some fresh walls up the top, but before we do it we need to really create a new type of wall, because I want to create a weatherboard effect wall, and Revit doesn't have one, so I need to make something. Okay, so first things first, let's go to the first floor plan. Okay, because this is where we will be drawing the wall in. Okay, so in our first floor plan we can see all our wonderful reference lines. We can see the stairs, but we can't see anything else, so we've got no real reference at the moment as to where the walls on the ground floor are, apart from the red, the reference lines and the reference planes. Okay, but all is not lost. There is a way of finding them. Okay, so if we go to our properties, make sure we're clicking out, no, not in any commands. Go to our floor plan and our properties. Okay, and then below the graphics display options, there is a parameter there called Underlay. Okay, and by default it should be set at none. Okay, and what the underlay does is that we can turn on layers above or below where we are, so that we can see them relative to the plan that we are in. So the best way to see that, so I'm just going to go click on this little drop down arrow here, and I'm going to bring up the ground floor underlay and apply, and there it is. Okay, so it's brought up the CAD file, and it's brought up the walls there. Okay, so I tend to call this ghosting in my physical classes. So I can see the wall at the moment. I can't touch it because it's on a completely different plane, but at least it's there for us to understand and work with. Righty-ho. So with that little part done, we can now go ahead and create a new wall type. Okay, so I'm going to click WA for wall. Okay, go through my list here, and we're going to choose the stud timber 90 as a baseline wall. If you don't have that, then a generic wall will probably suffice. But we're going to use the stud timber 90 because that would be the core structural element for the wall in Australian and New Zealand circumstances. Okay, so if I click on that, now what I want to do is I want to go into edit type. Okay, so it's a similar process to what we did when we modified the brick veneer wall. Excuse my coughing. Okay, so stud timber 90, I'm going to duplicate that. So left click, duplicate, and I'm going to rename this as a weatherboard wall, and go OK. Usual story, we've changed the name but we haven't changed any of the properties with it. So I'm going to go into structure, and now I'm going to go into the edit assembly. So I'm going to go into structure, click on this big old edit button here, left click, and here is the assembly. So we have been here before with the brick veneer wall, but this time we're adding stuff. Okay. Right, so what we have here is we've got the core boundaries. Okay, so that's a boundary and that's a boundary, which means this layer in here is a core layer, okay, and that is the structural element of our construction of our wall. So I don't want to change that. I need a structure, I need it to be timber, and I need it to be 90mm. What I need to do is add another structure or another element on the outside of this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go insert here, and straight away it just inserts something straight in there. The next thing I'm going to do before I change any of these properties here is to locate this in the correct place. So I'm going to locate that up, because here's my exterior side. I want this layer, there we go, click up. I want this layer to be outside of the core, because all it is, it's a veneer, non-structural element, and I don't want it to be part of load-bearing element performance or behavior. So now I can go in here and I can change some of these bits. So I can go in here and go structure, click on that down arrow there. I'll just say that it is a finish. I'm going to bypass the material for a moment. I'm going to change the thickness from 0 to 10mm. That's roughly about right. And now we're going to go into the category. So we're going to click in here. So by category, and this is going to take us to the materials browser. So this is somewhere where we haven't really been before. So click on that little square there, left click, and it's going to pull up this window here. Okay, and this is the material browser. Now we will look at this in a lot more detail later on, but for the time being, what we need to do is just very quickly create a new material. So on the left hand side, these are the materials that are currently sitting in the project, and we can add and create and delete them as we go. Okay, what I might do here, rather than creating a duplicating things like that, we're going to use the default wall as the baseline for this. So I'm just going to click on that default wall. Okay, what I can do is I can right click on there and I can rename that. Let's call it Weatherboard. Now if you're in the States, I'm guessing you would call that siding. Same deal. So there we go, Weatherboard. Right, now let's have a look at the right side of the materials browser. So we've got the graphics, which are basically our architectural graphics that we see most of the time. Okay, so this is the colour of the wall. Okay, so I don't want it to be grey, so I'm going to click on that colour swatch there, and at the moment I'm just going to choose white, and I'm going to go OK. So there's the colour of the wall at this stage. The next thing I'm going to do is apply a surface pattern. Okay, so I'm going to go into here. So at the moment there's no pattern selected, so I'm going to click on where it says none, left click. Okay, and these are our fill patterns. If you're an AutoCAD user, the term would be hatching. Okay, using a hatch. Okay, now there's two types of fill patterns in Revit. We have drafting patterns and we have model patterns. And the model patterns is where we want to be, because these behave in 3D. Okay, they actually work better. They just work in 3D. You'll have to trust me on this one. So model. Okay, and along here we've got by some of the default patterns that we can use. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab, I think, this one here, the 150mm horizontal, nice thick weatherboard, and I'm going to go OK. So the base of the wall is going to be white. The lines, or the hatch, to help indicate that it is a weatherboard, will be 150mm horizontal. The other one I'm going to do is I'm going to change the colour here. So this is the colour of the pattern. Okay, and at the moment it's black, but I want to change that, so I'm going to click on that, and I'm going to choose a mid-grey. The reason for that is that in elevation, Revit doesn't apply line weights for elements that are closer or further away. Okay, it's got no sense of scale or depth. Okay, so everything's presented at a very, very fine line weight, hatching included. So if we use black hatching, it just gets completely lost in our designs. So if I use a grey hatch, it's going to better define things in elevation. Okay, so weatherboard wall there, white colour, 150mm horizontal pattern with a grey colour for the pattern itself. We don't need to worry about the cut at this stage. Just go apply, bottom right hand corner, and OK. Right, so that weatherboard material now should be behaving correctly. So now I can go OK, and OK, there we go. There, oh, before I go OK, look, there's my width, 100mm. So there's my check. Okay, I'm happy that it's all done the right thing. Now I can go OK. Now we can actually go out and change, actually draw some of this wall in. So what I'm going to do is I am going to grab my location line. I'm going to make it the finished face exterior for the time being. Okay, and I'm going to, I might come in about a metre off there. I might come out a little bit. I'm thinking we might do a cantilever at some stage. Rightio, I'm just going to come out here a little bit. I'm not going to stress about whether I'm in the right place at the moment. I'm just going to basically get some lines in. Then I can show you a new tool. And I might get a bit crazy and go in there. Righty ho. Right, now, so that's our wall. If you look down the bottom left hand corner here, we're in coarse detail level, so let's change that to fine. Okay, and the other thing is that even now we still can't always see 2 lines, we should see 3. So if I go to my shortcuts at the top, there's my thin lines tool, click on that, now I can see everything in thin lines, and there's our wall. Okay, so there's from there to there, that's our 90mm stud wall, and from there to there is our 10mm weatherboard. Okay, so now I'm just going to do a little bit of extra work. Okay, we'll introduce you to something called the Align tool. Okay, so let's go to the Modify tab in our ribbon. Okay, we've got this little button here, Align, AL. Okay, so we left click on this. And what this does is just basically aligns things up for us so we get things in the right spot. Okay, so the trick with this command is the first question it asks in the bottom left hand corner when you reinterpret it into English is where are we aligning to? Okay, I am going to align this wall, so I'm going to go to there. The next question is what part are you going to align, which face? I'm going to align this face because what I want, this is a timber frame load bearing wall, and underneath it on the ground floor there is more load bearing wall, so I want those two to be lined up. Okay, I'm going to apply the same principle here. I want to align to there, and I want this to be aligned. And same here, I want to be aligned to there, and I want that element to be aligned. I want to go there, and I want to align that one there. And I might even, for argument's sake, grab that rail there, see I can, and that one there. So I'm going to get this kooky little bit in here. That's okay, we can use the roof tool to sort that out. So escape out of that. Right, let's go have a look in 3D and have a look at our handiwork. There we go. Zoom in a little bit. Okay, we can see, so I'll take that into hidden line. There's our brick hatching. There is our weatherboard or siding. Okay, she's looking pretty good. So we're getting a little bit of form in now. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that to the first floor plan, and we're going to leave it at that, and we'll come back for another lesson, which could be putting some roofs down. I think we'll try and get the form done, and then we can worry about function afterwards. Not how I normally operate, but I think we'll be okay. Right, so we will see you then.